Okay, today's job is this condensing unit. It's on a glass door cooler downstairs, and the problem is the cooler's running like 44 degrees. It's not cold enough, and I'll show you what this. I made this cover quite a few years ago. I'll show you a picture of the old. Somebody installed this compressor on the roof and just put a piece of sheet metal over the top of it. I'll show you that picture. Here's a picture that I took on my cell phone quite a while ago of the unit. This is what I found when the owner got somebody to install this compressor. And the guy just got a piece of sheet metal and just rolled it over the top of it like a wagon train cover. Didn't have seams on it, nothing. It was a very flimsy, poorly done setup. Actually, the unit initially, when I got there, didn't have a disconnect on, and I put this disconnect in also. It just had the line running to it. If you had to shut the unit off, I had to go down, get off the roof, go down the base downstairs, and shut the circuit breaker off. It was kind of dangerous, something like that. But that's what that unit looked like. It was just sheet metal. Yeah, $14 piece of sheet metal in there. Oh well. Okay, this is the high side, and here's the low side. This is how you put the gauges on. Got your, good if I had turned it off the other day. Hope the battery's halfway okay. Oh, the battery's still good. It's been on since yesterday. Okay, that's how you put your gauges on a refrigeration system. Get your low side hose, goes to the low side. Very simple. And it's reading 13 pounds pressure. The high side goes to the high side. It's the king valve right here. To shut this valve off, you go all the way out. To open it up, you have to turn it in, and it's open now. And now we have a reading 225 pounds suction pressure. Now it's got Freon 22 in it. I'm going to change it over to 407F. Okay. Compressor running? Yeah. Alright, now I have to check it, I have to figure out why this isn't cooling off the case off. I think what's happening is the suction gas is leaking. The pressure's pretty hot. A reed in the valve plate is leaking is what I think the problem is. And usually, if that's the case, right now the compressor's off. That's what happened. The compressor was running,
and it just shut off. It just shut up on its internal overload protector. Your finger was going to look like a bald guy on the side. Anyhow, what happened was the compressor ran. The compressor overheated, and it kicked off. Now, what? It kicked off on its internal overload protector. It got too hot. So what's going to happen is in a couple of minutes, as soon as it cools off, it'll come back on again. Okay, so we can wait for it to come back on again. Okay, the compressor's running now. And the pressure's a bit low. The suction line is not as cool as it should be. The hot gas discharge is high. And a way to check for the to see if the valve plate on a hermetic compressor is leaking is, one, the head will be very hot. The suction pressure, head pressure is a little bit low. The suction pressure is a little high. But this suction line here going into the compressor, if I shut it off, if the reed is broken in there, if I shut it off, the hot gas will come back to from the high side to the low side, right here. And it's warming up. You can feel it's getting hot. But now I have to reclaim the refrigerant out of the system. I'm going to do it into this tank over here. Okay, I pulled the old compressor out, took it off the roof, and I'm putting a scroll in its place. There was a reciprocating compressor I took out. I'm putting a scroll in, and I just piped the suction line. It was coming over this way. I moved the pipe over, connected it there, and there, and put a straighter valve on it. Running nitrogen through the lines right now. You can see a little bit of the gas, nitrogen smoke in there. But now I have to get my discharge line from here to here. And it's 1/2 inch. That shouldn't be too hard. Then I have to change the dryer filter and start the vacuum. Then I have to wire it up. But I'm going to do the discharge line now. Okay, I piped the suction line over, and I just did the discharge line, and I just have to make this connection over here, and then I can change the dryer filter and connect my pressure control, and I can pull a vacuum. But right now we're gonna work over here. Now I wire brushed the fitting out, and I wire brushed the outside of the copper tubing. You can see this copper tubing is very oxidized. I got it shiny again because I want the best possible connection. I don't want to have a problem with it. Once you heat it up and you got to take it apart, then it's a big problem. Let's see. Okay, I want to get a nice. And I'm heating it up on this side of the fitting to draw the brazing rod into the fitting. Now, if you can see the smoke coming out of there, that's nitrogen. A little bit too much heat. Okay, that's brazed. Let's see. And it's cooling off now. Okay, now I have to change the dryer filter. I put a little bit of leak lock on it carefully and Teflon tape. This dryer filter's starting to rust. And that's probably like 6 years old. Well, it had its day in the sun. Arrow has to go toward the evaporator coil. It's an EK163. It's a 16 cubic inch dryer filter. 3 is for 3/8 of an inch. Copper size tubing. Or the flare size. Okay. Oh, I did check the flare. It was a nice wide flare on it. I meant to show you. Okay, so now I can start the put a vacuum pump on it. That's my next step. Okay, now we're pulling our vacuum. Here's our pump. And I've got my Appion hoses on it. I like Appion hoses, and my Appion Schrader removal tools. They work good. They'll hold it back pretty good. They won't leak. And I put my plug wiring on it. It's fairly simple. And I put a new dryer, a new run capacitor on this. And now I just have to wait for my vacuum to get low. I did check it for leaks or nitrogen twice. And it looks good. And I just have to wait now. It's like a day at the beach up here. Got my water. are pretty good water bottles. I got them at Target, and they're made in USA. They don't have BHPs or whatever in the plastics. I got a couple of them. I think I'm going to get a couple more. You can go through them pretty fast on a hot day like this. Okay. Okay, I got it started. I'm putting gas in it right now, watching it. The maximum amps is rated for 25. I've got 15, but I look at the sight glass. It could take more refrigerant. That shows me I don't have full column. My subcooling's probably off too. But pulled a vacuum on it. I checked it for leaks with nitrogen. I ran the copper tubing. The old reciprocating compressor had a start capacitor, a relay, and a run capacitor. And this is actually this is a ZR compressor. It's actually an air conditioning high temperature compressor, which means we're going to run at the low end of its scale in the medium temperature cooler. The compressor was a Tecumseh compressor that was in there, and it crossed over to this schroll. This was the recommended. And what I did was, instead of a relay capacitor and start capacitor, I just put a run capacitor on it like an air conditioning system. That's what it called for. It's very simple. And that wires up this is a single phase system. There's a 3-pole contactor on, but we're only using the two outside legs on it. We're not using the center leg on it. But on the top of the contactor you have L1 and L2. See, L1 and L2. And the bottom is T1 and T2. T1 goes to common on the compressor. And it's the standard plug-in. That's your black wire. And then there's two gray wires, a light gray and a lighter gray. I believe the lightest gray was my run wire, and that's on T2. T1 goes to common, T2 goes to run, and the start winding, which is the darker gray, that goes to the capacitor. Comes out of the capacitor and goes to T2. The capacitor is wired between the run winding and T2. It was fairly simple. My sight glass is starting to look pretty full. I'm going to let it run for a while. I want to let the expansion valves open and close a bit. Okay, we're all done. Just got to put the cover on top of it, and it's ran, hit temperature, and shut off. It's running nice. I charged it up. I think it took 13 pounds of gas, and I put 407F in there. That's still good. Head pressure wasn't too high. There's some concern about 407F with the head pressure being high. No, it just kicked in. It's running nice and quiet. Pretty smooth. I'm pretty happy with it. See how it holds up. So, okay guys. Later.